So if this is finding you, this season, you're about to step into role model energy. Role model energy. You are the blueprint. You are the new standard. You haven't been able to find it in the industry that you're going into because you're the example. Everybody else can kind of copy and paste everybody else, but you can't. The reason being is because you're the change in that industry. You're the one, we're going to look up in a year. People are going to literally be copying you because you are the trailblazer. You are the one that's going to change that industry forever. You are the role model. I love you.
Hope is all we have, all we need on this journey. Love is what we give when we receive, so keep it burning. Gift your soul and let it be. Soon you'll find your gift of legacy. I'm ready to color my world, ready to give to you. I'm ready to color my world, ready to give to you.
Faith will keep you strong where you belong. Just believe it. Dreams to help you grow, to reap and sow, you receive it.
So gift your soul and let it be. Soon you'll find your gift of legacy. I'm ready to color my world, ready to give to you. I'm ready to color my world, ready to give to you.
Good evening, everybody, and it is so wonderful to be with you. This is a pre-recorded message from myself, Chris, and Melissa, who are very excited to be launching phase 2 today, 16th of November, 2022. So compression is what it is all about. And of course, like Colonel Sanders from KFC, they never sold their secret recipe, so we can only give you as much information as we can, and the rest you will see on your boards. So what happens when compression applies? Well, legends will always remain legends. Guides, builders, and confirmed gifters will be placed randomly as builders and guides, and sometimes there will be a confirmed gifter if there's an empty builder slot available, but we'll get there when I show you some pictures. And your invitees may or may not land near the inviter. Remember, we are trying our very best to make sure that teams stay together. So if you are on a board and you are spread over 2 hemispheres. You are going to be compressed into one hemisphere, because we've known from experience that a team works better together, and we can always work better together to get more people. And then, of course, what's beautiful is your invitees will always follow Inviter on your next round. So we really try and make sure that everybody stays together that has been brought in together. So let's have a look here. What boards do not qualify for compression? Well, if you look at the first one, there's literally one person that needs to be filled. So this will not qualify, because everybody working together will be able to get that extra person. And what's so wonderful is that the legend that's in this position will actually be able to receive a 9th gift. So that is a bonus for them. So that kind of board won't be touched with compression. And then the one underneath, of course, there are 3 people on either side of the legend. So, of course, something like that will also not be compressed. And the reason being, again, we speak about keeping teams together and not cross-pollinating. We believe that with cross-pollination, there was just no responsibility for working together and for bringing in your people. So there was no accountability with one another, and some people just sat and decided to wait for things to happen. And in Gift of Legacy, you cannot sit and wait for things to happen. So if we had to try and fill these empty spots, we would have to take people away from their teams and randomly place people into these positions. Another way that these positions could, by some bonus, be filled is if, for example, somebody has been deactivated, so they haven't been active in their profile, they haven't logged in for 30 days, they lose their profile, they come to support, they say, "We're so sorry, we had technical difficulties, we just couldn't log in, but we really want to still be part of Gift of Legacy." Now, there is a penalty with that, and the penalty is that the system will place you randomly on a board where you will be placed as a builder or a guide. In support, they have no control at all as to where you land or where you go. They just press a button that says reactivate, and the system does the rest. So in that case, if somebody's profile gets reactivated, they may very well land up randomly being placed on one of these kinds of boards. And the beautiful thing is, if their invitees are on other boards and they complete as legend, they will then come onto this board and follow them. And when they leave this board, they will also follow their inviter. So they're just on a cross-pollinated board for now. And that is sadly the penalty for not being engaged. Remember, Gift of Legacy is a gifting activity. We've always said remain active. And if you haven't logged in your profile since January, how many people have you really brought, and how do you expect to move? Okay, does anybody want to comment on any of those, Phyllis? Anything you want to add?
No, I think, Cans, you've actually covered everything, especially here, saying that if people have not logged in for the 30 days and they do contact us and ask support, please, we'd really like to, be involved in Gift of Legacy again. As Candace is saying, you will be randomly placed in either a builder or a guide position on a board which is cross-pollinated, and then your invitees will come and join you. And then once you completed the board, as Can said, you'll go and you'll find your inviter. So 100%. Thanks, Cans.
That penalty could also end up being a blessing in disguise, because just now you end up on a board that is absolutely flying. So you've got to look at the flip side of the coin. It could actually end up being something very positive.
No, that's quite true, Chris, because when the system actually randomly places you on a board, it places you on a board that's the fullest board that it can possibly find. It actually first searches for the fullest board, and then it places you on in either the guide or the builder position before it actually places you on a board that's half empty, if that makes sense. So that's actually, as Chris says, a blessing in disguise, because you'll get to move much quicker, and then your invitees can follow you much quicker.
Awesome.
And also, just one thing I wanted to add is that it's fully automated. So this is not something that is done manually one by one. This is written into the code. So there's no preference of any participants whatsoever. It's totally randomized, and it's totally automated. I thought I'd just mention that as well.
And also, just to squash a rumor that's out there, there's no advertising campaign on social media that is bringing people in and we're randomly placing them on boards. That is absolutely not true. We do not believe in advertising on social media from a Gift of Legacy perspective. we still do not support any social media advertising. However, if people are advertising movements, or if they are advertising sacred economy and they are using it to educate the masses, I mean, how beautiful is that? So we don't find anything wrong with that, but we still do not believe in advertising on social media because it is a gifting community, and we still believe in sacred heart-to-heart inviting. And with my beautiful group that I'm working with now, they share heart-to-heart. They have conversations with people and they share heart-to-heart. They only send Linktree to people once they've got their sacred yes. So they will use a napkin and draw a picture if somebody needs to understand, but we found that that really is the most beautiful way to share. Anyway, okay, so boards that do qualify for compression. So here you'll see we've got the legend, and then there's a guard on the one side, and then of course a guard and a builder on the other side. So this one would definitely qualify for compression, and I will explain how that works in a minute. I just want to show you a few more that would qualify. This is another one. Obviously, these poor people have been abandoned. But if you look at this board, you will notice that there's the legend and the two people on either side, which are the guards. Now, in a perfect situation, if you invited your two gifters when you were a builder, they would land up next to you on either side, but you're still part of the same team. So what might happen in compression is that, let's say, Conrad will actually get downgraded to builder, but then you guys are all still together as a lineage and a team. So that can happen. But again, remember, when you are with the teams that you've brought in, it's much easier to work together than with random strangers. Random strangers, we all know, is a little bit more effort. But if you want this badly enough, nothing will stop you. So boards that will still qualify for compression in phase 3. So this is a really great example, and I'm going to tell you a story behind this board, because this was a board that was my mom's board. And as you can see, the left side is grayed out, so that means it's closed. But when I logged in, when we had auto remove to this board, it was literally just Silver Magic, Mama Bear, and Naj on the board. So it was the situation that I just showed you in the previous slide. And I thought, oh my goodness, my heart is sank. She's worked herself all the way up to the platinum board. And now we've always said, if you don't have the fire burning on your bronze board, you're kind of stuck, because none of her boards in silver, gold, or platinum will move if I don't do anything with this board. So I couldn't abandon it. So what I did was I got hold of people I'd brought in on another profile that kind of wasn't really going anywhere. And I said, would you like the opportunity to come and start fresh with me? Because I'd invited them from a legend position. I went off, and of course, because the builders and the guides hadn't invited, which is the reason I did as the legend, when they went onto their new boards, they were in no man's land. No one was talking. They were all builders, but they just didn't have that energy that comes from working together. So I said, what I'll do is I will get you to come in. So Zeti and Kimnus were my two people. And of course, we worked it so that Zeti would come in and gift a 1. Once I confirmed her, she went and trickled up straight into the builder position. And then we waited for Zeti to bring her 2 invitees over there, because I wanted Kim in the builder position, and Kim could only come in as a builder on gifter position number 3 to trickle up, because trickle up works in quadrants. So these people will always stay together, these people will always stay together, and likewise on this side. So what I actually said to them was they could bring in 1 person without me asking for the gift. And then what could happen with that person, because they got a free position, they could actually pay it forward and pay for somebody to come in behind them. So that's how we did that. And we filled this board, that side of the board, very, very quickly. And of course, you'll see that Mama Bear over here only has a half circle. So she went into legend on the new board very quickly. And all of these people were building so quickly that they brought in their own people. I said to Mama Bear, please, whatever you do, I know it's a desperate situation and you want to be part of this and the energy is great, but please don't put a space filler in. Rather put someone that's going to grow with you. And then, if you get sidelined, you can always come back in and you'll always be with us. So she's actually sidelined at the moment until she finds someone. She's holding on to her $500. So as soon as she brings in the right person, she'll come back in. But they all have moved on. And what's so beautiful is this was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Kim has completed as a legend, and look where she landed up. She's come in on that side. So Zeti and these people are all going to assist and come on that side. And the beautiful thing is, even though I gave, I didn't get any gifts on the left-hand side, what's beautiful is everybody that's coming in now is going to be gifting on the right-hand side. So I'll be able to use the funds to possibly sponsor more people in with the group that I'm working with. And that's how we've done it. So it's just so wonderful. But the reason I'm showing you this board and saying that it doesn't qualify for compression is because it's a half board. So the half boards haven't been included because we've got to do something completely different to them. We haven't forgotten about you. So if you are in the situation and now you've realized after phase 2 of compression, nothing's happened, it's still in the works. That should happen in the next 2 weeks or so. So we haven't forgotten you. Believe you me, we know how special these boards are, and we're not going to leave any stone unturned. So here's an example of how we would compress. So if you look at the first board, you've got a team, because they're all in the same color. So they all came in together, they all moved together. So what compression will do is move the guard over here into the builder, and that's keeping the whole team together. And then people from another board will also be together over there. So you'll see here is a confirmed gifter, and that's fine because there is a builder position that's open. So technically this legend is still going to get 4 gifts from the left hemisphere. On the right hemisphere, of course, that's now full, and the 2 people that are in builder position are going to work in getting people to join them on the board. And the great thing is that this is actually a group of 4 people that can now work together and maybe possibly bring in 1 person each so that they can get the board moving on the right-hand side. These people will all be together, and they will work together to now bring in the people to fill the rest of the board. Melissa, anything you want to add?
Oh, Kians, I think you've explained it perfectly. And I love the fact that you use the colors, because it actually shows how we are trying as much as possible to keep people in their teams together, especially with this compression, because we know how, people love to, be in one quadrant with their teams. And with this is a perfect example of how this will happen.
Awesome. So let's show you a different example. So over here, we've got board A, which has got the legend, the guide, and the builder on the one side. They're all traveling together. Then you've got a poor guide on their own that's been abandoned by the rest of the people. And then you've got board B, which has got no legend. It's got no builders. It's literally just got the guides. And now what will happen is that guide will move actually into that builder position over there. Sorry, I forgot to put that in there. And then, of course, this one will move into builder position over there. And then that will be also regarded as a fuller board. It will compress as much as possible, and there might be a random builder placed in that position, but that is as full as they are going to be for now. We keep trying to improve and see where we can get things going. But, it's a learning experience as we do this. Of course, once these positions have moved, this board will no longer exist. And then scenario number 3, of course, you've got this team over here, and you've got this guide that is now moving into builder position over there, that builder, which is moving into that position. And of course, this board doesn't really look complete because there's a couple of, there's this gap over here, but you'll see that the legend will still be entitled to get all 8 of their gifts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that is technically still a full board. Because if we had to trickle up this little guy over here, this gifter, if we had to trickle them up over here, then on the next round, they're going to be separated. They're going to be on the opposite hemisphere of the board, and the team's going to be split up early. Of course, when, the person that you've come in with becomes a legend, and then their two invitees land up on either side, obviously they're going to be split up in the next round, because then those guides become legends on their own board. So eventually you do have to split up, but we've really tried to keep people together as much as possible. And then, I just want to reiterate, it's very important that we remember that we do not promote Gift of Legacy on social media. It's very important to keep our community like-minded. Again, no filling of spaces, because the filling of spaces is the reason we've had to do compression in the first place. So people that have got a second chance, even people whose profiles are being reactivated, they are so excited that they have a second chance at getting this right. Remember to be the messenger and not the message. Always invite people to a recording or a live presentation or a recording. We've got such beautiful videos from 7 minutes to hour videos. And we've got incredible training. We've worked for 10 months putting the most incredible training together. Everything that you need to know about Gift of Legacy is in our link tree and on our YouTube channel. And please note that it's important to understand that there are no guarantees. The success or failure of any participant will really depend on your willingness to participate and follow the guidelines of Gift of Legacy. And it remains your responsibility to comply with tax. But you know, we are the guardians of Gift of Legacy. We are the custodians of Gift of Legacy. And all we have ever tried to do is educate our community on how to use Gift of Legacy in the correct way. So that's all we've tried to do. And we've tried to do this for your benefits, because if you guys move, we all move. And I just want to make that very clear. If you are hearing things from people and they do not correlate with anything we've said, it is not true. Plain and simple. If you haven't heard it from us and you hear things that sound crazy, they're not true. You can come and ask us any questions. Most of the time we're available if anybody reaches out, and we will always be transparent and honest, just like we have from the very, very beginning. So if you hear rumors, go into your hearts and connect with us, and you'll know whether they're true or not. And also remember that people that are pointing fingers are more than likely of being guilty of the thing that they're pointing fingers at other people of. They are the ones doing the things that they're accusing other people of. So just be very careful, be mindful, be loving, be kind, and just love one another. We've done this because we wanted to change the world and make it a better place. That's the reason why we're still here. So we love you.
So much love for you guys. Oh, so much love. And like Candace said, you know, reach out to us. You know, I know our phones blow up the entire day. I may take a day or two sometimes to get back to people, but we eventually do get back to everybody. And I mean, think about it, a community with hundreds of thousands of people, and they've got our personal cell phone numbers. So it's a bit much, but you know what? We actually get back to each and every single person. So yeah, we love you guys. And thank you so much for, you know, taking the time out to listen to Compression Phase 2.
Yes, and also just to let you guys know that from next week, we're going to do Motivation Mondays, we're going to do Presentation Tuesdays, and Wednesdays will really be for if we've got announcements. If there is no announcements, then we will be doing replays. So Wednesdays will be Replay Wednesday, because we need to just get all of the education that we've put together in the last 10 months out to the world. And what better way to do it than on a normal 8 o'clock Zoom, where people are now in the habit of tuning in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Remember to keep engaged, subscribe to our official Gift of Legacy channels, because that is where you get the news first. Whenever we've got anything to share, we put it on the Telegram channels. And of course, make sure in your profile, when you click on Academy, you'll have access to Linktree. The A to Z document is in there. Everything that you can think of regarding Gift of Legacy is in there. FSCA letter, lawyer's letter, everything and anything that you want to know. Our ethos, our beautiful ethos as to what we believe Gift of Legacy is. Everything is in there. So yeah, good luck. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Mwah.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.